Happy Wednesday night and welcome to A Look on the Plus Side. This is the show where we go into the Disney Plus catalog, the Hulu Plus, or basically any streaming service we want, and we talk about a movie or a TV show. And tonight we are talking about the Halloweentown franchise. It's getting into spooky season, so we're wanting to talk about Halloween. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It's the Park Adventurers Club, and also give this video a like as it helps people to find us. And always the mystery, who is us? Tonight it is this guy. It's Charlie. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Dude, I
Clearly, I
was
haven't upset you enough.
Bring it. Yeah, you and I did Ice Age, and you just kept going, man, people don't usually let me talk about like the science side of this thing enough, and I was here for it, man. It was great talking to you. I would love to hear, as we get into it, in this particular franchise, how much science-y you bring into this one, and I'm sure you have lots of facts and figures to share with us tonight. We're talking about the Halloweentown series, which is it's interesting to me because when my kids were growing up, my wife watched these movies with them religiously, and I didn't really watch them a lot. We did a review on another show I was on. We did Halloweentown, and then maybe I think we did Halloweentown 2, but I've never gone past Halloweentown 2. So as I'm digging into the plus of Disney, I looked at this list and I was like, okay, here's an interesting thing, Charlie. There are 4 movies in this franchise, and even Disney doesn't want to acknowledge that if you space out the words Halloween and town. But if I pull them together, boom, this 4th masterpiece lines up here. So the first one was in 1998. The last one was in 2006. I really want to kind of focus on the first 3 because I see them as a trilogy from 1998 to 2004, because the 4th one is hashtag not my Marnie. They recast the star of the movie for the last one. So we'll talk about all that tonight. But when I rolled this out to you and I said, hey, let's talk about something, what do you want to review? I believe you brought up, hey, have you done all of the Halloweentown movies? What is your connection to these movies? Why did you suggest these?
I saw these in their first run. I haven't seen the 4th one, but I saw the first 3 in their first run as Disney Channel original movies. And it was like, everybody remembers, or everybody of that time, like it's something you talk about at school. Everybody's excited about it, of let's watch a Disney Channel movie, and like people jumping out of the film reels and everything. Like I'm in my mid-30s and I can still call that jingle and that opening intro to mind perfectly.
Yeah.
It was like a cultural moment in Halloweentown. Like it was for the weird, vaguely goth kids, and like that's the one that everybody, I never by the time like High School Musical and Camp Rock and all that had come around, where it kind of had this second resurgence, I was too old for it at that time. But this was like my version at that time, was like Xenon and Halloweentown and My 13th
Right.
Year, and all these, to me, just absolute classics that helped shape the fantastic man that I am today. It's because of a lot of these films. And Halloweentown specifically, I really liked. Like just it's just a classic. It feels like a storybook come to life. I love
Yeah.
them. So I saw the first 3 in their original release. I've not seen the most recent one all the way through, the Return to Halloweentown. Like I was aware that it was around, and it's one of those things I was like, oh, I'll get to it, but like I just wasn't there for it in the same way, because when you're 16, you've got other things going on that are more important, versus when you're 8, you live and die by what's happening, Rugrats or Disney Channel movie or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, I get you. So there's over 100 DCOMs, and I guess they still pump them out here and there, because I know that they did a Zombies 4. Out of all of the Disney Channel original movies, is Halloweentown, like, is that your jam, or is there another one? I know
Dude,
you rattled a couple others off.
You can't
You
ask me
can't pick
that.
out a favorite. You can't pick out a favorite?
No, that's oh man, that's like, I could tell you my favorite superhero movie or my favorite sci-fi movie. I can't tell you my favorite.
DCOM?
It's got to be either Halloweentown or I watched Xenon a lot. Xenon Girl of the 21st Century. I watched that one a lot. And My 13th Year I watched a lot. Uh, like I mean, I've seen so many of them, and it was not an option of like, oh, I don't like this one, I'm not gonna watch it. Like, if Life Size comes up, you're watching it. If like whatever it is, it's the Disney Channel original movie, you're gonna watch it.
Yeah.
So it's got to be either this or Xenon would be my favorite, I think.
What I love is, first of all, I don't think Life Size ever made it, and I don't know why, to Disney Plus, because I feel like that's one that we would have probably reviewed at some point, and it never made it to Disney Plus. Xenon cracks me up because, again, my wife watched these with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Is that there's three of them, and I love
Mm-hmm.
that the second one's called the Sequel.
Yeah.
That's quality entertainment right there, but. Yeah, there are over 100 of these things. I think some people, like you said, were High School Musical and Teen Beach Movie, and the next generation was Descendants and Zombies, and
Yeah.
where there's more than one of each of them. But also at the same time, while we're comparing DComs at this point, I think a lot of people are either, when it comes to Halloween, either Team Halloweentown or Team Hocus Pocus. I feel like they kind of came around the same
Yeah.
time, and people
Yeah.
have a
Hocus
fondness
Pocus
of
was a
one or
little
the other.
earlier. Yeah, I think it's Hocus Pocus feels like a decom. Like, it really, if it wasn't for the cast, I think like that's the one hallmark of the original movies, is they always have like one person, and your parents have to tell you why they're important. And
Debbie Reynolds.
yeah, like Debbie Reynolds. And now as an
That's
adult, I'm
Princess
like, oh,
Leia's mom.
Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, like, and I mean, don't let's not even give her a qualifier of Princess Leia's mom. Like, she wasn't Singing in the Rain. Like,
Yeah,
she's a Hollywood legend. So, but like as an 8-year-old, I don't necessarily know who she is. So there's always one person who's like the token older celebrity. And then, or it's like, the parents are a token older celebrity couple, something like that. And I think Hocus Pocus wasn't pushed onto TV because it had so many names. And like, you're not going to put, if it was just Bette Midler, it probably would have been an original movie. But having that cast so stacked, not just in front of the camera but behind the camera too, like, that's something that deserves a theatrical release. But it still has that same kind of a feel. It has that same innocence, and like, nothing really matters. It's just fun. We're not
right.
upset about anything. It's
Well,
great.
and I will tell you that, well, except for a lot of people get upset about the, like, why did there have to be a virgin lighting the candle situation, but we won't talk
Yeah.
about that. But the thing that may tie that together is Kenny Ortega, because Kenny Ortega
Yeah.
was the director behind Hocus Pocus and then later High School Musical and some of these other franchises. So that may have
Yeah.
been why it has that similar feel to it. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to Halloweentown. The other thing is, like, my favorite Halloween movie is Nightmare Before Christmas, which also
Yeah.
has, like, I don't have a Halloweentown shirt, but this feels like a Halloweentown shirt because this, Halloweentown,
They're all from Halloweentown.
they're from Halloweentown. This is Halloween. But there's never a connection there. By the way, we
Mm-hmm.
we celebrate this movie in the Disney parks, and we celebrate the Hocus Pocus movies in the Disney parks, but we don't celebrate Halloweentown in Disney parks. And maybe a lot of
Yeah.
DComs. There was a period of time where, like, High School Musical was celebrated in the parks, and and then more recently Descendants and maybe Zombies at like a nighttime party or something. But I feel like we don't really tie these in, and this is a lot of people's nostalgia for Disney and DComs and all that. So it's interesting that
Mm-hmm.
we don't really do that.
That, I think we should have a hard ticketed event. Like, if we can do a 90s flashback night and a Sweethearts night and a Star Wars night, we should absolutely have a Disney Channel flashback night, hard ticketed event, and just like, have a parade with, like, I don't know if Joe Jonas is doing anything right now. Bring him out. Like, where's Eric Von Detten? Let's put Eric Von Detten on a float.
Don't
Like,
talk to me about
let's.
Brink. Don't ever talk to me about Brink. Uh,
Brink is fantastic.
wow.
Are we gonna get in
Okay.
a fight right now? Do you not like Brink? Do you want to watch a
Brink.
friendship
There.
dissolve live on air?
No, 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 no. There's a history of me and Brink, and I can't really get into
Okay.
it right now. But I will tell you, there was a Disney Channel night at Disneyland. They did one.
Really?
They did a Disney Channel night.
That's
Now, it
cool.
wasn't like
See, I would go to that.
it wasn't like DComs or anything, but it was a Disney Channel night at
Yeah.
Disneyland, and so I remember them doing that and thinking, why don't they do these nights at times when I can actually go? But
Yeah.
um, yeah, so they did. The After Hours event filled with Disney Channel festivities comes to life. You can look forward to a spectacular party next year. Check back for more information, is what the Disney website says. So maybe there will be another one, and maybe it will do that. But I
Okay.
still think at Halloween, there's enough lore with this that there should be T-shirts or something. My wife has bought
Oh yeah.
Halloweentown T-shirts because or sweatshirts, but like from Etsy online stores, not
Hmm.
necessarily from like Disney. So I feel like it's one of these things that there's got to be a reason they don't do that. So let's get back into the movie. 1998 was the very first one, 2001, 2004, and then the last one happened in 2006. The first thing I thought of when I started digging into this for us to talk about was, is this based on a book or something else? And so I Google it, and it's like, no, it's not based on a book, but they then make the book kind of canon inside the movie
Hmm.
when Grandma brings the book to read to the kids, and or Sophie in bed. And so apparently, uh, the cast, and at least Kimberly J. Brown, but like the cast got like commemorative copies, not the original prop, but commemorative copies of that book as like a wrap gift. And so
That's
that like
sweet.
it existed from there, but again, I was thinking this is based on something. Now, personally, and I know you have a nostalgic tie to these movies, but personally, I feel like as I got into the second and third movies, I was thinking, yeah, I get that this isn't based on a property because it doesn't seem to have any direction whatsoever. That it goes off in completely. It's got like not an A story and a B story. It's got an A story, a B story, a C story, and then it starts to fall apart somewhere along the way with that.
Hmm.
Now that's not necessarily meaning it's not a good movie for people to watch, but I just, the threads are hard to find, and a lot of times there's got to be stakes, and there are
Hmm.
stakes, and there are time limits in each of the movies. They've got to do something before the stroke of midnight.
Yeah.
That, so there is like that countdown, but it's a little bit all over the place to me as far as that goes. So is it, do you think, for a kid who grew up with this, is it about the
Hmm.
spectacle and like the edginess and the excitement of it? Because it's certainly not about the story.
Yeah, and that's I haven't watched these in a while. Like I see the parts that I liked as a kid, and I really liked Kimberly J. Brown, but like they're poorly written,
Yep.
in many cases very poorly acted.
Yep.
Like it just they're not good films, but I'm not watching it at this point. I'm not watching it for a good film. Like I can go see, Schindler's List if I want to. That's not what this is. It's not a good film. It's objectively poorly made. But I'm watching it through, 8-year-old eyes of like, oh, I remember liking this. I liked Benny the cab driver and stuff. And
Sure.
like there are certain aspects of it that I'm like, oh, that was nice, but it's all just member berries. Like I don't, it's not objectively good. And like, I remember as a kid liking Halloweentown High the most, but I don't, now I'm watching it and I'm like, why? Like this is almost physically painful. Like I rolled my eyes so hard, one of them got stuck. Like it just, they're so bad. But because he like where you go and watch, Hocus Pocus or Nightmare Before Christmas or something. Those are good films. I would say not great, but they're really good films. I enjoy it. They're well
Are we gonna
written.
have a fight? Are we gonna watch a friendship dissolve on a live? Like, no, go ahead.
I would not categorize Hocus Pocus as a great film, but it's
I, I'm
fun,
I'm
you
just
know.
I'm just defending Nightmare, buddy. That's all. I'm just defending
Oh
Nightmare.
yeah, see, I'll okay, but this is a separate. We're not talking about Nightmare because I Nightmare I think is the quintessential Halloween movie for a reason, and I think it's because Nightmare very famously was not rushed into production and they went way over budget and it was very creator driven where it's like this is what we're trying to do with this
Yeah.
versus Halloween Town is content. Like before we had to make content, it was just content. and that's kind of what it feels like. And they got a Debbie Reynolds and then a bunch of unknowns to go and do this script that was written over a long gin fueled weekend, and like it feels like it, like
Yeah.
it's. I don't think it was creator driven. I think it was studio driven, and that's why it feels this way.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? When you're making that many decoms, I mean, again, over 100 in its history, and a lot of these they were pumping out, and some of them are very forgettable, and some of them stand out, and
Yeah.
some of them look like they had a good budget and a lot of promotion and leading up to it. Smart House stands out to me as one of those with,
Oh, Smart
yeah,
House.
yeah, that's one like
That.
again, but I mean that was it was a good story. It had a lot of heart. It was
Mm-hmm.
put together with quality. It had good acting. It had Kate whatever her name is
Katie
from,
Seagal
yeah,
from Married with
from Married
Children.
with Children. So I mean there are some that were well put together. Adventures in Babysitting with Sabrina Carpenter was like, I think it was the
Mm-hmm.
100th one, and it was a quality put together movie. But then you've got some of them that that are just a little weak, like Mr. Boogedy. Like, what the heck was that? Like that one.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried that one. I cannot get through
Yeah,
it. That was a little
yeah,
before me, and I just
yeah,
can't do it.
yeah. It's tough. So one of the things I wanted to, I would normally I would do a stat board, but because we're talking about this whole trilogy, I didn't want to put that into play. But I do want to talk a little bit about the money behind this. But at first, I want to say that when we were watching these movies, Charlie messaged me, and these were his words: "Man, these movies are rough." Like I needed to call that out. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
that that's your final blow on whether these need to be watched or not. We'll settle that at the end. But I just thought that was funny because, like, you were talking about the member berries, which I love a good South Park reference. Remember Chewbacca? But I definitely I feel like that happens a lot with nostalgia. I talk about that with Tron all the time. I would never recommend the 1982 Tron to anybody, but I will defend it to the death. But I'll never recommend it to people. I love it, but
What? What?
I what?
This Tron is one of the greatest film.
I
All right, we're not
look,
going to
look,
go
look,
down
look,
this
look.
road.
No, no, no. Oh, no, I agree, and we can do a review of Tron, and I will. But and it was groundbreaking, and if you don't know, if you don't like, I don't feel like it's as watchable for a modern audience. And so I feel like if I recommended it to somebody, they'd be like, "Oh, that was hard to watch." But for me, I
Yeah.
love that movie, and I feel like it's necessary to watch Legacy. It
Hmm.
means more to watch Legacy, and
Oh
then I'm
yeah.
sure Ares will be the same thing. So it's like you kind of have to watch that one. But for me, I love it because it came at a time in my life when I was a little kid, and there weren't a lot of superhero movies and the sci-fi of the whole thing. And I
Hmm.
agree. I mean, I will fight for Tron, but I'm not going to recommend it to people necessarily without a caveat of it's a little slow. It's a little, I don't know. We'll talk about it another
Yeah.
time. So let's
Yeah.
talk about the fact that I was trying to look up budget for this movie, and the only thing that I found was that somebody was saying that the original Halloweentown movie, that the budget was originally supposed to be 20 to 30 million dollars, and they ended
Hmm.
up only giving them 4 million to make it.
Yep. And a 24-day production schedule.
Which shows.
Yeah. Yeah. It absolutely does.
Yeah. So let's talk about the cast of this one. Obviously Debbie Reynolds. The reason I mentioned the whole thing earlier about her being Princess Leia's mom was that I feel like at 8 years old your parents would have told you that rather than referencing Singing in the Rain.
Hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but that's like not because I don't think Debbie Reynolds is an amazing actress or was an amazing
Yeah.
actress. The heartbreak of how closely she and Carrie died to like around the same time was just that's
Yeah.
devastating, and they were both amazing. Um, Judith Hogue plays the mom. Kimberly J. Brown is Marnie. Dylan Piper is played by Joey Zimmerman, and boy, oof, talk about rough. The acting on that one was not great. And then Philip Van Dyke, and I was like, oh, like Jerry Van Dyke and Dick Van Dyke? Nope, he's not. He played Luke, and
Okay.
then Emily Roske, Roeske, plays Sophie, and she looks a lot like the little girl, and I forget her name, who played like Matilda, but she's not.
Oh
Like
yeah.
she's very look-alike with her, but she's not. So she really only did these like movies, and then she was done with Hollywood. Um, and then Calabar was Robin Thomas, and then after that, there's not really like a huge cast in that. That's basically like you were talking about, like the token name in it was definitely Debbie Reynolds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And I think she and maybe Kimberly J. Brown and maybe Judith Hogue were good. The rest of them,
Yeah.
I mean, Sophie was just a little girl, and that's all she had to do. But like Dylan's
Yeah.
stuff, I thought was a little bit rough throughout the the series. It felt a little bit
Yeah.
kind of rough to watch. Anything stand out to you? I mean, they're the main cast, those five throughout the three movies, and then of course
Yeah.
Marnie was replaced, but she was the only one replaced for the fourth. Any thoughts on the cast in
Yeah.
general?
I think Kimberly J. Brown, especially watching them back to back, she kind of came into her own as an actress. By the third one, she's actually like, not that she was bad in the first one, but like you can see she's young and untrained and over the top and very Disney Channel. But by the third one, she's actually good, not like good for a Disney Channel movie. Like, actually, she's doing a really great job. And she, in the third one, she's opposite Finn Wittrock, who's another. He went on to like American Horror Story and all this stuff. So like, we get some better individual actors here and there as we go. But for the most part, especially in the first one, it was rough. And I texted you like maybe 40 minutes into the first movie when I said these are rough. I hadn't
Yeah.
even, it wasn't even like multiple movies. It was just the first one. It was hard to get through.
Yeah. And you know what? I would actually argue, and I'm not sure I would need to argue with you, that the second movie plays a little bit better as far as structure and acting, and even maybe some of the quality of the movie plays better. The third one, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
the quality gets better with these as they go. But as you mentioned, you know, it, basically that's what I'm saying is that you mentioned that the quality gets better as you go. The third movie, I
Hmm.
thought the quality was that's more modern day quality. It is basically a leap up, but I think as far as the story, it was completely all over the place for the Halloweentown
Yeah. I
High.
mean, all three of them were kind of all over the place, and they didn't stick through with a lot of the same stuff of setting up that like Debbie Reynolds created the magic world and she was the queen for 1,000 years and all this stuff. And then by the third one, they're celebrating the 1,000th anniversary, and Debbie Reynolds was like, I knew, Shakespeare and Merlin and all this stuff, and I was here in the Dark Ages. And it's like, well, then how are we only celebrating the millennium? And like, they just didn't live within the world they've created throughout the franchise. And also, like, as we go through them, I think there was a certain charm and whimsy of like the way the effects were done in the first one, where it was like a little remote control bag and a lot of stuff happened off screen and they had to set things up. By the third one, they're going full digital, and it just felt like it doesn't have that same soul of like, hey, we got
Charm.
our budget slashed. Yeah, like it just, that first one really kind of had the magic, and the rest of them
Look,
really, the others didn't.
I love that you brought that up because there was an effect that happened that I was very impressed with in the first movie. That I was like, that was such a simple thing to do, and yet it doesn't look great, but it was well executed, I feel like. And it's the bus landing in Halloweentown. And as I'm watching it, I'm as a person who's kind of like critiquing this movie as I'm watching it, critiquing a children's movie from
Hmm.
1998, because that's fair. But as I'm doing that, I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, okay, that was an impressive way to do that. And there's a lot of things like that Superman, like the old George Reeves Superman show would do, where
Hmm.
like he would like jump off stage and you would see him like flying somewhere else. And this is not original to them, but I love the way that this
Yeah.
plays out, where when the bus lands in Halloweentown, first of all, the effect of it flying is kind of horrible. Like it's just like but and I'm going to cut away for a second so that YouTube doesn't ding me. But as the bus lands, then it comes around the corner, and I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm impressed. Like the
Yeah.
timing of that seemed to work out super well. Now it was basically a cutout of the bus that they took and just slid down a screen, and then but then the bus comes around the corner, and I'm like, okay, that's impressive. That's
Yeah.
movie making 101, but it was well executed, I felt like. But
Yeah.
that kind of it talks to that charm, and I get what you're saying, because the bag in the third one was so unnecessary for it to be an animal like an iguana with a tail and all of like I
Yeah.
guess it was supposed to be an alligator bag, maybe was the
Yeah.
deal because
Yeah.
of
Like
it
alligator
looking
skin
like
bag.
that. But it was just
Yeah.
like, really, why are we doing this? I don't know. But
Yeah.
so
One
anyway,
thing I'll say about
go ahead.
sorry. One thing I'll say about the first one, as you showed that clip of Judith Hoag and Kimberly Brown, this movie was, I don't think I've ever seen a DP frame this tight on a film ever, anywhere, ever. Like genuinely, the faces were like this most of the time, where like the top is cut off and the chins are cut off, and like it was distracting. I don't know who the DP was on the first one, but anytime when they're having just a back and forth discussion, it was like this, so
Yeah.
much so. And I was like, oh, if we're gonna do the whole series like this, it's gonna be awful. But they got it switched up for the second one, and then the third one was fine. But boy, that first one, just seeing that clip again was like, yeah, that was rough.
Just made you a little ill.
Yeah.
I honestly like when they get to Halloweentown and they're in that town square. I just keep thinking, why didn't we set this up in some Disney park somewhere and just let people walk around the town of Halloweentown? I can't imagine
Yeah.
the production wouldn't have been so affordable, even today. Like, do it now. Like, go ahead and set
Yeah.
it up somewhere where you've got a piece of real estate. Disneyland, Disney World, Disneyland Paris, I don't care. Set it up somewhere where it exists. And if people could just walk around and take pictures in front of the big pumpkin or, the
Hmm.
school bus or Benny's cab or like things like that. Why is Benny always associated with a cab driver? Why is that?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
Roger Rabbit. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, I'm just like, this should have been so easy for them to do and to play to and maybe they will. Maybe Disney Channel night next year they'll set up a Halloweentown, but it looks like it's we
Yeah.
talked about the budget being like a shoestring. Yeah, that's kind
Yeah.
of where that happens. So let me ask you this: as far as the storyline goes, do you remember as a kid, maybe as you're watching this for the first time, ever not knowing that Calabar was the bad guy? Like
Um.
the mayor has to step away, and then he then they're in the movie theater and this villain shows up, and then we don't see
Yeah.
the mayor again, and it's like, well, obviously he's the bad guy. Like,
Yeah. And I think like I grew up watching, like those mystery shows of like the whodunits, and you're like, oh well, that's kind of how they set it up. So like, of course that's going to be how it is, and that the little gremlin guy or whatever he was, Luke, um, being his toady and setting it up is like, all right, he's not actually the one pulling the strings. And upon the first reveal, you're like, oh yeah. And then they walk out of the theater and Calabar comes back and you're like, oh, well, this is clearly him. It's clearly this guy, the only guy who's had any kind of screen time other than the characters who are standing in front of him. Of course, this is going to be the bad guy. And like, that, every time Columbo's interviewing somebody and they're like, oh, this is, Corbin Burnson. You're like, special guest star, Corbin Burnson. You're like, well, clearly he's the killer this week. Like, I don't need to
right,
solve it
exactly.
because he's the only one who's getting the screen time. Of course he's the killer. And it was the same logic with this of like, I've seen Matlock. I get it. I know how it's done.
I feel like by the third one though, the third one there was a little bit of mystery. I feel like,
I think they played on it on purpose of like, is
yeah,
it going to be the boyfriend? Is it the whatever? Like we knew
yeah.
it. I as an adult, I guess, I kind of knew it was the town council guy, not to give away any spoilers for a 20-year-old movie, but like, because again, he was the one who was the most vocal and the most in it and the most involved. So of course he's going to be involved in the finale.
Right.
So,
But again, I mean, I feel like they at least play with it a little bit in the first movie and in the
yeah,
second movie. I feel like it's painfully obvious immediately in the second movie when Cal shows up, and it's like, wait, I'm sorry, his name is Cal, and
yeah.
okay, and and for some reason I thought maybe it was going to be one of these like Sky High things where it was like Calabar had gone back
Oh,
and was a young kid again, like somehow,
yeah,
like in a different body or whatever. But in that case, like the mom would have recognized him because she grew up with Kalabar. But so Cal
Yeah.
showing up, like, and just all of a sudden being super into Marnie and all that. It's like, girl, you getting catfished.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seemed pretty obvious. But going back to Calabar in the first movie, this Willy Wonka choice that they made with him, with the top hat and the cane and the Gene Wilder hair, like
Mm-hmm.
why it was so Willy Wonka. I mean, I don't know, it was funny. But I will say
Yeah.
that, like, Benny, like, as a character and as like, that must have been great as a kid, because number one, that's a really good practical effect with
Yeah.
that guy, like the animatronic ish of his eyes like moving as he's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's really well done for
Yeah.
1998, I think, as a practical effect. But
Yeah.
also, like, he's fun, I think. So, like, I get that maybe as a kid you probably would have really liked him.
Yeah, I liked that, and I liked all the monster masks and everything. It's and like the pumpkin-headed
I mean, this
people
was this was hardly
were
Rick
cool.
Baker work.
No, yeah, it's not, but I think honestly, like at 8 years old, I don't want to see like an American Werewolf in London. Like I think that would be a little jarring. So having just like a fluffy head and a dog nose is enough, for kids.
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting, their choice for the monsters in the town, because I really feel like they were kind of like overdone prosthetics, or like, and even the monsters themselves, some of them are better than others as far as like, the and I'm thinking specifically like when we were first introduced to the monsters is when we're watching the kids on the bus, and we see this Frankenstein, um, which I'm waiting for here. Uh,
Mhm.
and that's a really good effect, that Frankenstein. But the
Yeah,
guy who's with him, which is he's like a demon or something. His is not great. Like, it's a good face, but he can't move it as well. So it's
yeah.
just interesting to see the difference. Like, the Frankenstein face was really well done, I feel like. And so it's almost like on some creatures they really tried, like Benny and this
Hmm.
Frankenstein, and then some of them they were just like, just throw a mask on that dude. We've got one back in props. Like, just
Yeah.
throw a nose on that lady.
Yeah. Well, I think that also comes with the budget slashing. Like they were in pre-production and they were like, "Oh, we're going to have these masks done. We're going to have these monsters, I mean, you look at like Halloween Town itself. They had already spent the money on renting an entire town square and this big beautiful mansion for Debbie Reynolds. And like the sets were great. And then you go to the sequel and it's like the town square is the size of my living room. Like it's not even a full backlot set. It's like one little alleyway that they kind of decked out and they never touched it again. And then same thing for uh Halloween Town, the return. I was just watching the beginning of it earlier tonight, and they pull up in front of one shop. There's no town square anymore. And like they cheaped out on so many of these Halloween Town iterations after that, probably because the bulk of the budget, I'm sure, went to locations and these few hero masks, and then the rest of them were just Spirit Halloween that they kind of threw together because this is all we've got left.
Yeah. The basics of this first story for the first movie is about, and it's a common trope. It's about secrets and lies.
Hmm.
Mom doesn't want to tell Marnie why she can't do the thing. She's just telling her you can't do it, and she doesn't want to tell her that you're a witch. And it's almost an evil, cruel thing that she's waiting for like the clock to strike and her to turn 13 so that she can't have these powers anymore. That's almost, I mean, I remember thinking the first time I saw that, wow, that's super like dark and unfair. Is like, there's a part of
Hmm.
you that you're gonna let that part of your kid die, and when the clock runs out, and she's never gonna have these again. Meanwhile, the little girl is showing these powers and she's hiding them from her too, and then trying to get mom, to play along with that along the way. But
Hmm.
she, of course, has that history. So I mean, it's about secrets and lies, and then they find usually. And I brought this up. I think we were talking about A Bug's Life. Shannon and I were talking about that one. I was like, usually it's at the end of Act Two where the main protagonist has wanted to share the secret, hasn't been able to share the secret, and then either they're about to share it or somebody blows up their spot, and then everybody hates them in the end of Act Two, and then Act Three is their redemption. Um, so mom had a little bit of redemption in here in the fact that she came to find them and then she fessed up to some stuff, but then she got turned to a statue for whatever reason. That was a weak sauce kind of a plot
Yeah.
twist too, is like luring everybody to the movie theater and then freezing them in time until I need them. Like that seemed weird, and then that whole production of like the space time continuum window for him to fly through.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then when he's like done and he's like his death or his demise is very vague as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like he
And I
could have
think,
come back in the second one, but he didn't, and they're like, "You destroyed my
yeah,
dad."
like, did they though? And I think that's just one of those things that was too expensive to show on screen because they got their budget slashed, you know?
Yeah.
And like we got our budget slashed, so like we only got Debbie Reynolds for half the days we really need her for. So she's just gonna go to sleep. Like not grandma, Debbie Reynolds is just gonna go to sleep. Um because she's inflating the budget too much. So our 24-day production schedule, we got her for 12 instead of, 40, and so that cuts down her fee, and now we can pay for renting, the movie theater or whatever it was. So I think there's a lot of, and because they did the same thing in the second one where at a certain point she just goes and she's like, oh, I can't be here anymore, and so she just is held for like most of Act 2 and Act 3 because they just can't have her in the film. And it was very contrived, and like off screen all the problems get solved. That's like, no matter what happens, if it's off screen, that's where the problems get solved. So her mom comes to accept her and has this soul searching moment and whatever. And now she emerges from the theater ready to, let magic happen all over the place. And like, let's go to Halloweentown all the time now. And it's because it was off screen, and that's where all the magic happens.
Well, and if we've learned anything from a Disneyland daytime parade, magic happens. If there's anything we've learned, um, I want to ask you about this choice. Just jumping around, I want to ask you about this choice for the
Mm-hmm.
broom salesman to be an Elvis style impersonator. What was that all about? Like it made no sense to me whatsoever that they threw that in there.
It's got to be a friend of the producer or something. Like that's, and I see that every once in a while in stuff where it's like, why are you here? Why was this choice? This was such a non sequitur and so unnecessary, and it's
That's what I'm
probably just a
saying. Like
friend of
it
the
felt like there were
production.
A stories, B stories, C stories. Like so, like in that particular like scene or whatever is when she's gonna buy Marnie her first broom, which feels very Harry Potter before Harry Potter.
Hmm.
Um, gonna buy her first broom and take her to Diagon Alley and get her outfitted for her first year at Hogwarts. But then there's this wonderful effect, which reminded me of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and the fly or the bee scene.
Yeah,
That they recreated at Disney Hollywood Studios or MGM Studios back in the day. So the problem is, Charlie, there's a lot of lore here they could have played with, and I feel like this could have been a James Bond amount of movies if they had stretched it out and planned it out well
yeah,
enough. This could have been the Halloweentown cinematic universe that we were talking about 20 years later, and I feel
yeah,
like they just kind of glossed over a lot of it. It has so much potential from a story writing, content, lore standpoint. The fact, like you
yeah,
said, that she's 1,000 years old, this can't be her only kid, right? If she's 1,000
yeah,
years old, this can't be her only daughter. And if that's the case, we could have gotten into that whole kind of a situation. Maybe some of them still live in Halloweentown, and then what happens to Sophie, and Sophie goes off on her
hmm,
own thing. Like it could have been a big deal if they had just like realized what they had. So this is not one of
yeah,
those where I look at it as like there wasn't anything here. There were things here. They just didn't do the right thing by it. I
yeah.
feel like.
And that, I think that's also part of what makes it tough. Is like, I'm not like a script writer. I'm not saying it, oh, my version would be so much better. But it's like when there are these dangling threads that would be so easy to pull on, why don't you? Like, you set it up. Why did you set this up? And the culmination is very clear of like, you can go in this direction. Why didn't you do it? You were the one who made this, and there's just no payoff for it. And like, I have a real problem, even in modern movies, like the Thunderbolts did the exact same thing. So many things that were such low hanging fruit they could have gone for to make it better, and they just didn't. And they were like, well, we just, we got to hurry. Sorry. And
Yeah.
like, I think Halloween Town's the same kind of thing. If like they set up a lot of stuff, they put in, like you said, all the lore and everything. You could mine that forever, and they just choose not to. And then like the villain just appears, like, because there's so many things you could have done that would have made it better, and they just don't.
The other thing, again, with the lore is they don't really get into what happened with Dad. And I know that like the common trope in any children's story is there's an absentee parent or two, and
Mm-hmm.
so that allows for the journey. But they don't really get into what happened with Dad a lot. And again, they had 4 movies to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then, unless that was something that was hidden and returned to, I don't. I mean, that seems like a completely other story that they could have gotten into.
Yeah.
Let's just get that prequel going, I guess, and figure out what happened. It's probably a tragic story, kind of like how young Sheldon lines up with the Big Bang because we know Dad's gonna die, like at
Yeah.
some point. So,
Or what
uh,
if he doesn't
um,
die? What if it's like Aladdin and the Prince of Thieves, like, or King of Thieves,
mm,
where
yeah,
we think he's dead, but maybe he's not. Maybe he's a wizard after all. There's a
yeah,
lot they could do.
okay. And in the second movie, they open up basically like we just ended the first movie, and it's 3 years later. But the one thing that really gets me in the second movie is how we lean into how it's been 3 years later in the modern world, and we're talking about like computers. Like she's just all on her
Yeah.
computer, and that's just such a big deal. And there's a really cheesy part where she's trying to get Dylan to help her do something, and she's like, "If you don't do it, I'm going to spam your diary all over the net," is what she says. And I'm just like, yep, we're into the
Oh
modern
yeah.
age now. We're into the lingo.
Yeah.
But when it opens up, it's her narrating like, okay, here, like if you missed out on it. So I feel like you could come into 2 and not have had to see 1 maybe because, but I mean, it is Cal is really, it's called Kalabar's Revenge, which is it? Because it's Cal's revenge on them because of Kalabar. It's again, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
But she kind of like sets the stage for you because it's a decom and says, the first one starts cold, which a lot of decoms did. It was just like you're in it. There's no like
Mm-hmm.
long like story or we start in the middle and we go back to the beginning and how did I get here? Like it wasn't none of that stuff. It just kind of just starts. Like we're not fooling around. We got 90 minutes to do this, and so
Yeah.
this one starts immediately with like her just narrating like the history of what happened. But then they're having a Halloween party and grandma lives with them now. And then here comes Cal and like the weird way his face always appears. Like, why did that happen all the time? His face in the wall, his face in the brick, his face in the
Mm-hmm.
fire. Like, what? Why are we doing that?
I don't know, because then like they've already got this guy under contract. Like, just bring him all the way on set. Like, why are we why are we doing this? It was
Yeah,
such a weird choice. But
yeah.
maybe they're trying to, oh yeah, see, and this the net they're always talking about, but that was everything at that time. This is what, 1999, 2000 for the second
2001.
one? 2001.
2001.
Okay. So everything was like, you couldn't go to a grocery store without getting an AOL disc at that time. Like,
Right.
that was, everyone was on the net and the web. And like, even one of her things in the story of how do we get around one of these spells or something, she's like, what does a hacker do? You find a back door into the server. And like, that's what triggered the fact that she now needs to undo the magic or something. I don't know. But it was like, there's so many little references because they're like, kids like the net, and so we're going to put lots of references to keep them entertained with the
Yeah.
net and hack and on the web and surf the net. And like, it just, that's what everything was at that time, because it was a bunch of adults who didn't understand the internet trying to relate to kids who barely understood the internet. it
They
was
should have been
it
with
was a
us back
very
in
weird
1982
time.
with Tron, man. They would have understood it
Yeah.
much, much better had they been there. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Do your
agree, and
homework.
it did sound very disconnected. That whoever wrote that didn't understand where we were with computers at that time, and just like the whole,
Yeah.
I'm gonna spam your diary on the net, all over the net. Okay.
Yeah.
Another weird choice they made was they introduced this character Astrid, and I'm like my wife again, who is a huge fan. I'm like going, where was she in the first movie? And she's like, no. And I'm like, because she makes it sound like Astrid's a really important person in her life. And so she's watching Halloweentown. This is the Debbie Reynolds character, the grandmother. She's watching Halloweentown through this creepy, ring camera of 2001, watching all of
Yeah.
her neighbors and people living in multiple camera angles. By the way, that's interesting too. It's like you would assume if
Hmm.
she's like a voyeur, she's just seeing one, but no, she's seeing multiple camera angles on these folks. I wonder if this was like scenes that they like had other scenes in this movie, and they were like, well, we don't want to get rid of this footage completely, so let's make it that grandma was like peeping in on them to kind of introduce Astrid, and then Gortz, I guess, is the guy who
Hmm.
all lost things go to him, which is very convenient that we would just all of a sudden like find him. Like he at least has a reason to be in here because we're like we need to find this book, which also goes to the point that I was saying before, where it doesn't necessarily, nothing ever really seems to pay off because they made a big deal about them going there to find the book and back and forth and going through stuff only to find out that the book had been gone for 50 years.
Hmm.
Like they furthered the story not at all. Like there was no
Yeah.
reason for that to happen. Like cut that out and this movie still exists. Like
Yep.
it just didn't make sense. But Astrid, I thought that was a weird choice, just to introduce her,
Yeah.
just to be able to like see her in the town then later.
Yeah. It's like the whole movie is basically just a fetch quest, like a side quest. They spend so much time on this side quest, and then they're like, oh, it was back home all the time, and then they have to use like this once as a storyteller, once you start incorporating time travel to solve the problems that you've written for yourself earlier in the script, now we have an issue. And like I think even with the Avengers, like Infinity War is one of the finest superhero films, one of the finest films I think I've ever seen. But now we have consequences, and we sure can't have that. So we have to resort to time travel to fix it. And like Endgame was fun, it had some great payoff, but having to resort to time travel was
Well, but
was
but
definitely a
but
choice, and they did
I
it
do love
early.
I do love rules in a movie. Like if you tell me this is the reason Superman can fly is because that he can launch himself with his strength into the air and that's why he flies. Like tell me the rules and
Hmm.
I'll just buy it. But like be
Yeah.
consistent or else, right? So
Yep.
I agree with you. I think in at least in Endgame, I appreciated the fact that some of those deaths were irreversible. And that's good because in soap operas and in comic books everybody can come back to life.
Hmm.
But in these movies you want there to be, like you said, consequences, and at least there were
Hmm.
consequences, but also those consequences probably just happened to align with contract negotiations, just saying.
Yep.
So so those consequences of like we can't reverse, like she had to die, and now we're talking about Marvel, but like the Black Widow had to die so that they could get the stone that would then allow them to then go back, and
Hmm.
so all of these things, like at least there were some permanent consequences. To your
Yeah.
point, and I put it in my notes to talk about in this one, once they introduced time travel, so many things could have been solved with time travel. So many different
Hmm.
things could have been solved, like the fact that it's 11:59. And by the way, why are we counting down? Like we're counting down like it's New Year's Eve. When do you ever do that at a Halloween party? That it's like, oh, we're counting down to midnight. Nobody does that. So there's no
Yeah.
like that was the dumbest little
We just got to have a ticking
stakes.
clock.
Right, that has the stakes.
Yeah.
But like, if the portal closed and it wouldn't open up again, then and we know how to time travel, then why wouldn't you just time travel back an hour and then go through it? Like if like
Oh yeah.
so there, like you said, once you've introduced time travel, now all bets are off. Everything,
Yep.
like the stakes aren't there, the consequences aren't there. Everything is reversible and changeable. And then the other thing is when she's yelling out. And I'm again, I'm nitpicking a children's movie from 2001. But that's what we do. So, but when the consequences of like, but the not consequences, but the spell that she has is there that she got from her grandmother that she can't quite pronounce, and we're not sure if it's really well written because her grandmother was turning gray. So she reads it, and then she goes back 5 minutes, and then she reads it again, and then she goes back to the dawn of the caveman. So does it mean that it only goes backwards because she says it again, but then she goes forward? Like
Yeah.
where's the steering wheel on this spell that she gets to go jump back and forth, forward and backward with the same spell? And then the
Yeah.
timeline thing. Okay,
But it's also, and I think like the Disney ended up making a really great movie about this exact subject. Like if you do have a classic Disney dead parent, how is your first choice as a time traveler not to go back and visit dad? Just go back, have a pep talk for a moment, and then
are you
and then
talking about
move
Meet the
on. And like,
Robinsons?
no, I'm talking about Onward. Like that
Oh,
entire adventure was he just wanted one more day with his dad,
yeah.
and like, and
I've got issues
I
with that movie too,
like
though.
it's got its issues, but I completely understand the impetus of like this is why they're fighting, and that he wanted to have this experience with his dad because he's willing to bend time and space itself to just have one more goodbye. And if you have like they even as they were doing that, what was the first Thor, like everything is on the line, everything is about like we could save the half the universe, and the first thing Thor does is like, yeah, you go ahead and take care of that, I'm going to go visit my mom, because that's the natural thing, that's what you would do with time travel. And
Right.
so it's just opening up more problems than it's worth, because now that you can time travel, like where do you draw the line? How do you stop time traveling now to not fix all of your problems if you can literally do it with a thought?
And I love that Rick and Morty kind of addressed that early on and said this is not time travel. We're just going between alternate dimensions because time
Yeah.
travel is a hack. It's like that's a hack. They just make fun of it all the time. Speaking
Yeah.
of things that were sort of just a weird hack, is like we know that the bus takes you to and from Halloweentown, which again, thinking of the limitations of why would the bus only be able to travel between worlds on Halloween is one thing. But then they're like, oh, we
Hmm.
don't need the bus now. We just invented a portal that has a clock on the top. Like, wait, what? You invented a portal, but wait, how? What? Like, here's this new piece
Yep.
of information that you've just introduced, and we're just supposed to accept that you can take the bus or you can just make a portal anywhere you want to. Either way, you can get to and from Halloween Town. And then we
Yeah.
then break those rules, which then rolls into the third movie about like, okay, she's on trial immediately, which again, the third movie picks up from the second movie where she's on trial immediately with this council that's like, well, you broke the rules of the portal, and so now we're doing this stuff here and going. Here's what I
Yeah.
don't understand though is that she's going to be on trial for that, and yet Cal was saying nobody follows like Merlin's like rules anymore, right? Like he
Hmm.
was going, nobody follows that anymore. So then, if that's the case, and there are no rules in the magic world, then why do they care that she made a way to see her grandmother all the time now? Like
Yeah.
again, just all over the place.
There's no, yeah, it's really, I don't think anybody, like the fact that we're having this conversation right now, I think is an hour more of story discussion than any of the
Then they
creatives
gave it.
put into this. Yeah, like honestly, I'm sure at some point Eisner came in and was like, you need to relate to kids more. Just put some net in there, or like have the skull wrap or something, and left. And that was the only consideration that the story was given. Like if I found out that this was all made over the long weekend, I would absolutely believe it. It really, every single one of these feels like a fever dream put to paper, and they decided to shoot it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Some of the
Yeah.
things were weird choices, like the whole courtroom scene in the third one. So from the second, here's another place where we're making the third one unnecessarily complicated, is because in the second one when it ends, she's broken this whole rule about portals, and so in the third one, she somehow is now an evangelist for the rights of Halloweentown people to be in the human world. And not that they asked for that or not, but she's going to represent them in this case. And she is going to, now that she's broken the portals and that rule, she wants to bring a group of them to go to high school with her.
Yeah.
What? Like what? Like what? And she's got like this whole like philanthropic process of getting these people and bringing them in is like it's just such a weird premise. Like, is this the one they
Yeah.
pulled out of the fishbowl to say this is what Halloweentown 3 was going to be? And it's not called Halloweentown 3. The first one's called Halloweentown. The second one's called Halloweentown 2, and the third one's called Halloweentown High. What?
Yeah. It just I really I think someone said, "Oh, you did well enough. We're going to make a next one." And so they just kind of came up with the first thought of like, this is how old our actors are now, because there's a marked difference between 1 and 2, even in those 3 years, because like a 9-year-old and a 12-year-old are going to be, they're going to look and sound very different. And the brother, I can't remember his name,
Dylan.
um, Dylan, he is a little kid in the first one, and in the second one his voice has dropped like 4 octaves, and he
Oh
sounds
yeah.
more adult than I do by the second one, and he's maybe what, 14. And so they have to just kind of like, all right, this is how old our cast is, let's just keep going now, I guess. And just putting it at that level. So they're in high school. We're going to do Halloweentown High. Here's your release date. Here's your title, and we'll see you in dailies. And that's, I think, all there was to it. I don't think there's a lot of thought, and the fact that they were shoehorning Lucas, what's his name from High School Musical, like he was in this one, and that was before high school. Both of them were before High School Musical, but like they recognized like, oh, this kid is going to go places, so like let's just shoehorn him in to these films and like give him a real subplot and like a character. And he has a moment of standing up to his dad in the third one, and then he becomes the second build, like he's on the poster for the fourth movie. So I think
Yeah.
they're just marketing it in that way.
So not only was Lucas Grabel in this one, which again, pre-High School Musical, but also Alessa Rulin, who plays Natalie the Pink Troll. She is actually Kelsey in the High School Musical movies too. So like
Oh,
both
okay.
of them, and she's not as big in this one, but both of them were introduced in this. Not introduced, but they were in this movie, and then they went to
Mm-hmm.
High School Musical. So I think there's probably some tie to that happening. But yeah, Lucas Grabel. But also in this one, he wants to be an actor. Wait, what? He wants to he wants to do a play. Oh, really? How on the nose of you? Um,
Yeah.
so Natalie the Pink Troll doesn't want to write the music for his musical. Um, yeah, it was that was a little jarring. I'm seeing them, and again, there were a lot of lookalike. Like I said, the girl Emily who plays Sophie looks so much like the girl who played in Matilda. And then there's
Yeah.
this girl who plays what was her name? It was started with a C, like I forget what
Cassie.
her name was. Cassie, yeah, and she
Yeah.
looks like somebody I've seen before, like from a Mean Girls or something like that, but it's not her. It's weird. It's like it looks like her, but it's not her.
She looks like, because like Disney just casts the same type over and over again,
Yeah.
and she looks kind of like America Ferrera. She's got that same vibe and that same energy. And America Ferrera started with Disney
Yeah.
Channel, so it's like they just keep like, oh, this one's aged out, let's bring in another one, and they just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Because when you get rid of Vanessa Hudgens, you got to bring in a Zendaya. That's just how we do it.
Yeah, true. Let me just say thank you for Charlie for being on. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for everybody who's watching. Charlie, this is the time that I ask everybody to give us a like, thank them for coming, and then hit you with some trivia. This was a little bit of a grind for me to pull out trivia on this one because we were watching
Mhm.
like a series, and I almost thought, let's not do it. And then I thought, you know what, let's. So I have some questions for you that you may or may not know the answer to because again, you said you grew up with these
Okay.
movies, so maybe you like there it's locked into your brain somewhere along the way. So I'm just gonna hit you with it, and then we'll see where we go from there. Um, so Gort's the guy who all lost things go to him.
Hmm.
They find his pet as they're sorting around through the garbage. What's his pet's name?
Mm,
Because like an oversized roach or something like that.
yeah. I have no idea. I want to say like Petey or something.
Spike.
Is it Petey? Spike. I was
Yeah.
completely wrong.
Which
100%
is
off
weird
base.
because he goes, "Oh, it's Spike," and then he picks him up and he kind of pets him like this, and he's got what looks like a homemade, like it came from a garage sale, like name tag kind of a thing around him. You know, the ones that have like the metal rims, but they're paper in the middle, and it just
Mm-hmm.
says Spike across it. Probably because the budget never got any better from the second movie or the first movie to the second movie. So that was in the second
Yeah.
movie. Also in the second movie, for no particular reason, everybody's going to the high school dance, Charlie. Everybody's going to the
Mm-hmm.
high school dance. At first, Marnie is inviting Cal because he's not enrolled yet, but she's enrolled, so that must be okay. But then Cal's dad invites Marnie's mom to this party, like not as chaperones, but just because everybody's going. And then they're all going to count down to midnight, which is absolutely ridiculous. What was the name of that high school?
Halloweentown. No.
No, it was in the human world.
Yeah. And it was the high school from Halloweentown High because they didn't actually go to Halloweentown High. They weren't in Halloweentown like at all.
I will tell
I
you
have no
this,
idea.
and this is going to blow your mind.
Okay.
The movie, the high school from Halloweentown 2 is not the same high school name as Halloweentown 3.
Why?
You tell me.
I mean,
These
in
are your
fairness,
movies, buddy. Like this is
like,
your generation. You tell me
yeah,
why why it's not the same. I don't know.
probably budget. They didn't want to go back to the same backlot. I have no idea. Lawrence Welk High School?
Lawrence Welk High School. That is a great fun thing that you just said there. No, it is Riverview High School.
Okay. And what was the one?
Which
Do you know what the one in the third was?
I do, and
was
that
a
was going to be one of
name, I
my
think.
my other trivia questions
Oh,
for you.
okay.
But I have more, so we'll go ahead and throw this out there. It's
Okay.
Calwood. Why?
I thought it was somebody's name, like
What? But
Lawrence Welk.
why? It's Calwood.
Calwood?
Callwood. Because the signs are very like obvious on both of them, and so again, why was one name and one the other? I can't really tell you. So it's Riverview is the name of the first one. So I've found
Okay.
you like proof of performance here that this
Okay.
is Riverview High School. And again,
And that
everyone
if I've ever
in
seen a high school, that's it.
That's-
That's absolutely not a backlot set with a cardboard sign on it. That's 100% a high school.
that's definitely what a high school looks like. We all know
Yeah.
it. Yeah. But and then for the next one, it's I'm looking for the specific spot, but like I just remember going, oh well, wait a minute, this is not the same high school in the least as the first one.
didn't
This
even
is not a
think about
great
that.
shot of it, but you can see the sign behind there. It says Callwood, Callwood High School. So again, very strange. I don't know why, but they it's not
Yeah.
like it was a brief thing that on either movie, but like. Where is the continuity? I don't know. Their houses look different. They don't talk about moving a lot, but their houses
Yep.
are different. So, and again, to your point, that's
Yeah.
probably budgetary. Yeah. So there's that. The next question I have for you is the principal in the third movie has a bird. What's the bird's name? Just
Hit
like
me
the
with all
other
these
one.
pet names.
You like that? Just trying to come out of left field.
Spike. Is it Spike? That'd be
Wouldn't
a nice
that be
callback.
funny?
Is it
No,
Spike?
we've already
be nice.
established there's no continuity between all three of these movies.
Okay,
I
you're
mean, they barely hold the cast together through the fourth one, right? So, the bird's name is Peepers.
No,
Yeah, how about that?
don't like that.
No.
Sure don't.
No, sir. Nope. Don't like that.
Mm-mm. That's a bad name.
I know. So Spike, Peepers, Riverview High School, and then this is going to be my last question for you. Astrid, this character that we made up out of nowhere for the second movie, has a necklace. What's on her necklace?
You know what? I don't know, but at least I'm consistent. You can always count on me to not know
To not know things.
Yeah.
It's a peace
I
sign.
have
She's
no
a
idea.
hippie for some reason.
Oh, okay.
And maybe
Cool.
like the astrid astrology, I don't know, but she's got a big piece on. But she doesn't have it on when we first meet her in the Gray Curse. Because,
Hmm.
by the way, that whole thing about the reverse, like apart and trappa,
Yeah. It's,
wow.
uh, however, if we're talking about the Gray Curse, that effect was really well done. Like all of the
At
rotoscope
first,
masking on everybody, and like when they're walking through the Halloween Town, it's not really the square, but like the Halloween Town parking lot, I guess. It's and there's like individual oranges and reds on different people that are pulled out, and the two main characters are in full color, but the rest of the background is everything but a red here and an orange there, like selective color on different parts of the frame. So well done. Such a
I,
cool effect.
I will say at first I will agree with you when they're in the town square, and yes, I will
Yeah.
agree with you that
But like you
they've
see
got
in the
it
background, just individual, a little bit of yellow on that guy's umbrella, a little bit of orange on that pumpkin,
a little bit of red on
selective
the brick.
because
Yeah.
yeah, like just so well done and such a cool look. And I was like, here we go. This is, we're in a different world now. This is going to be a really good one. And then, after that, it kind of isn't. But
Yeah, because when they go
still,
to when they yeah here's my favorite part of what you're talking about is when they see was it Luke and she waves right here.
mm-hmm.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
And you see the little bit of masking flowing over on her fingers. So that's somebody sitting there rotoscoping it. And this is, I mean, I'm sure this is 2001. So I'm sure they had, computers for post processing, but like, I do a lot of that kind of, masking and selection and stuff, and it's all handled by AI now. It's all handled by the computer of like, oh, just pull out that person. But like when I first started learning how to do all this, even on a computer, that's a lot of manual tracing and getting it just right and specific, getting the hair, Debbie Reynolds' hair, and like isolating her on a black background to make sure that the hair popped and everything. Just it was such a cool effect and so well done. So, deep respect for the post production team on all of that for Calabar's Revenge.
Yeah, well, but that's what I say at first. Then when we like get in the cab and this guy's wearing like sort of gray clothes and
Yeah,
sort of like the gray
yeah, it
makeup
kind of
on his
breaks
face,
down,
yeah,
but
it
the
kind of
cab
breaks
is
down
bright
from there.
yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And so like we're not really doing great there. And then when they go back to her apartment, that's again, I think now we're talking about it feels like it's more like not her apartment but her house. It feels more like a physical thing that maybe they just have gray things in the room as opposed to
yeah,
the rotoscoping for the whole thing. So
yeah,
I agree
yeah.
with you.
It's
And
definitely
it that's why I said at first it is impressive, and during the course of it, it it ebbs and flows badly.
yeah,
So
yeah. They get
again, that was
lazy.
quite an undertaking to try to be consistent about that to the point where I feel like they should have come up with a resolution more quickly,
Hmm.
or not
So that you
shown
don't
us
spend
as
most of the
much.
film in the gray. Yeah,
Yeah, because again, when he's walking around the apartment, and he's still like, he's still gray and not. And maybe that's why they made it that she could take the curse off of him, was not just so that we get a carrot of this is going to be solved, but also so they can stop him from having to wear the bad
yeah,
makeup and stuff like
yeah.
that. But yeah, it's really, yeah, it's a thing. Anyway, thank you for playing along. I appreciate that. I think that we've probably talked about this franchise pretty long here, but I do want to get into the fourth movie a little bit. You did watch like Halloweentown 3. I had never seen before this. So 1 and 2 I had seen, and then when we sat down to do this, I watched Halloweentown 3. But I know that Halloweentown 4 is hashtag not my Marnie.
Mm-hmm.
They recast Marnie for the fourth one, and then but you were digging into this a little bit, and there doesn't seem to be a valid reason why they didn't bring
Yeah.
Kimberly J. Brown in for the fourth one.
Yeah, so what I found in looking into it, because I've always been curious about this, why they would do that. I had never seen. Return to Halloweentown. It was after my time, but it has like the whole rest of the cast. Everybody else came back except for her. She was apparently in talks for it and she was available, and then they just decided to go a different direction and get this other girl who
Sarah
just in
Paxton.
the little bit Sarah Paxton, just in the little bit that I watched of it, like she just doesn't have she's not as good of an actress, and it's not like they're replacing, they're not going to do anything with that replacement. It's almost like, if you're going to replace Doctor Who, you get a new Doctor Who. He has to be a kind of a new version and bring his own spin to the Doctor this time. And Sarah Paxton was literally just taking over the role. Like there was nothing different, there was nothing new, and she wasn't as good of an actress as Kimberly Brown. So we kind of lost something in that we'd seen Kimberly Brown growing over the years and becoming a better and better actress. And by the third one, I think she did a great job. And
Yeah.
and then we kind of start with a young, less tested actress again, where it's like, we're going to go through growing pains again. And then they never did any sequels, thankfully. But yeah, like it wasn't as there's no reason to get rid of her. I think she was doing a great job, and the new girl didn't bring anything to the table that I really liked.
Yeah. I don't understand it either, but it really was very unusual.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, a trivia question I didn't ask you, but I feel like I don't know if you would know the answer to this or not,
Mm-hmm.
is the grandma talks about the Cromwells, but that is
Mm-hmm.
not Marnie's last name. Do you know what Marnie's last name is?
Piper.
Yes. Okay. Just again,
That one I did know.
all right.
Yeah,
Um,
because the reason. So I definitely had a type when I was a kid. I watched a lot of Halloweentown and a lot of Sabrina the Teenage Witch and a lot of Charmed. So
mm,
they're like, I see the through line, and then I ended up marrying a witch, and so like that's that all. No, like Wicca, like she's wonderful, but
yeah.
like actual witch, like
Well, you
that's
have to say she's
there was a
wonderful,
through
or
line.
she will put a curse on you. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
I know.
I
I
mean,
know to
you
mind my
don't mess
p's and
around with that.
q's.
That's not
Yeah,
that's not something you do.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
you
Piper
know,
was one of the Charmed girls. That's why I
so
know that.
my niece, we went with my family to I don't know if you've ever heard of ice. It is a thing that they do at like Gaylord hotels where they will they do a lot of carved ice sculptures, and you can go through around Christmas time, and they're themed
Oh
around
yeah,
Frosty the
yeah, I've heard of
Snowman.
those.
Or
They used to do
so
one of
we
those here.
so yeah, they do them around Christmas time, and they did one in outside of DC in an area right off of the Potomac, and I went with my family, and we walked through it, and we were walking out. Kimberly J. Brown was in the gift shop there, and
Hmm.
my niece, who had been a huge fan of these movies, went up and got a picture with her. At that point, my kids wanted nothing to do with meeting somebody famous. They were scared to death, and I
Hmm.
think it would have been creepy had I done it, but it was a moment in there where like I was in her presence. But she seemed like such
Yeah.
a sweet, nice person. And around, I think it was 2020 maybe, she also did a reading of the Halloweentown book. If you look it up on YouTube, you can find it. And she just
Oh,
seems
that's
like
cool.
a genuinely nice person. And again, so this is hashtag not my Marnie. Not that there's anything wrong with Miss Paxton here, other than the fact that she is
Yeah.
not Kimberly J. Brown, and it seems
Yeah, that's
unnecessary.
really. Yeah, it was weird. Like if she would have done a different character or something, I probably wouldn't have been upset about it. But
Yeah.
don't take over that role.
Well, and again, at this one, we jump up to Witches University.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, so, which is weird because, the High School Musical kids spent all of their time at East High. She goes from Riverview to Calwood to Witches University. I don't know. It's crazy. But honestly, I feel like that's goes back to what I was saying about the lore is you had enough lore here that you could have done seasons of a TV show. And the idea of like a Halloween Town reboot in sort of like a TV series on Disney Plus seems like it would
Mm-hmm.
fit pretty well. But if you're going to do that, you got to do that whole thing where you bring Kimberly J. Brown back as mom,
Yeah.
and then she's got a new generation of
But
of kids.
and here's another fun fact for you. Do you know who Kimberly J. Brown is married to?
I don't. Who is she married to?
Cal from Halloweentown 2.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So I
right.
see them at conventions all the time.
Do you?
But yeah, yeah, she's married to him, so they could, be a package deal. Just go step into the series, just go and do it.
Just be like the
Like,
husband
they
and wife
resolve their
team?
differences off screen, you know. And now they have a kid.
And that kid, they keep the secret to that kid. That's the other thing too that aligns so well with Harry Potter is like the idea that like the Muggle-born situation or the half-blood, like like
Hmm.
she's a half-blood, she's a half-witch, and they kind of touch on that for a second in the third movie.
Yeah.
That like that she's not a pure-blood witch, but it doesn't seem to affect her powers in any way, but yeah, that's interesting. All right. So there are four movies in the Halloweentown franchise, and we could call
Hmm.
it, they're nostalgic, they're iconic, they are part of not only Halloween, but they're part of the DCOM history. So
Hmm.
I feel like that we need to talk about one more thing about this that was in this movie, because the music. Why are you laughing already?
I knew this was going to come up. It's
Why?
the just it was Mark Mothersbaugh, and he was the sound of my childhood, and it was I don't think it was good. I think it was just awful. But like he did Rugrats, he did Halloween Town, like he was all over the place. Man, he and his computer synthesizer, they were working hard from like
Yo Gabba
1987
Gabba?
to 2004. Yeah, like he was just, and he's got a very specific style, and I would describe that style as um, movie promotional website 1996. Like you'd go to the website for a kids movie, and that flash player kicks in, and it hits you with the loudest, most annoying, repetitive, like it could be like a background from a shop in Zelda or Pokemon, but they're using it as a main theme, and they're just running with it. And I knew, because they were playing the opening music. I remember it because it's the sound of a childhood. I just it As an adult going back, it's so grating to hear. Like it bothered me so much.
So Devo, like founding member of Devo, like whip it
Yeah,
good, dun
yeah.
crack that whip, and then here he's doing that. But he's been doing this since like '82. He's been doing music for movies and television shows, and all the way through 2025. He has music in a
Wow,
Minecraft movie.
wow, good for him. Yeah, see, I would kind of expect this from Minecraft. Like
And what? Well,
it's the
let me
kind of
back
music
up.
that would go for that.
Let me back up to 2023. Cocaine Bear,
No way. Okay, see, that just
Hotel
makes me want to see
Transylvania,
Cocaine Bear more.
Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, he has quite a few things in there. But there wasn't really like a song from this movie, and that doesn't necessarily always come. I mean, obviously, movies like High School Musical and Descendants, there's songs that you would hear here and there. There's not really a song
yeah.
from this movie. But the other thing of trivia that I was going to ask you, which didn't seem fair to ask you because I couldn't find the concrete answer on my own anyway,
Hmm.
is that randomly there are a lot of montages in these movies, like
Hmm.
and there's a random montage in the third movie where they play "Let's Get Together,"
Yeah,
which is the Haley Mills song from The Parent
from
Trap,
Parent Trap.
which
Yeah,
is funny because when I Googled it, it told me it was from Pollyanna, and I said, "You're lying, internet. This is not from Pollyanna. I know this is from Parent Trap. I remember the
yeah.
scene." So that scene, like she's the Haley Mills song, but then apparently the Go-Go's redid that song for one of those Disney Mania CDs, like the Go-Go's, like from
Oh,
We Got the Beat and Vacation.
yeah.
Um, so, but I can't verify that that's that version in Halloweentown High because I couldn't get like Google to tell me what song it was as I held it up to my
Yeah.
TV. It's not in the closing credits, and you can't find it when you Google it. So it's such a mystery to me. Like maybe
Huh.
you've got access to the dark web and you can find it for me. But
I will
I
look into
was going to
that.
ask you like if you knew that song because as I was closing here and talking about Disney history, I wasn't going to go off on your boy Mark, but I was going to go and talk about the fact that there weren't really any iconic songs from any of these movies. And it's like it's not really a pop soundtrack. There's a couple of
Yeah.
like random like made for this movie songs. But that one in particular, in the middle of it, without any credit at whatsoever, just seemed super random. And it doesn't sound like Belinda Carlisle to me when I hear that one. So maybe it is the Go-Go's version, maybe it's not, but it was a random pull and it wasn't credited.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I just figured, like, I recognized the song, but I was like, oh, they're just pulling out of the archive to save money. We don't have to license this. It's all the same company.
Well, and it could have been that they just brought it like I said, it could have been that they brought it from that Disney Mania, and it is
The
the Go-Go's
Disney album,
version.
yeah.
So
Very well
anyway,
could be.
so we've talked about all that. I want to get your final thoughts on it, but I want to say thank you to everybody who's been with us tonight and watching, and we appreciate you. And don't forget, we do not have we do not have a Park Adventures Club this Sunday, but we'll be back the Sunday after that with another Park Adventures Club. I definitely would hope that you guys go back and check out all the content we have, including Charlie and I had an amazing talk about Ice Age, which he got so in the weeds of the science behind Ice Age, slapped me right out of the gate about the fact that it was not a dinosaur movie, but then from there showed off some great knowledge. So hopefully you guys will go back and check that out. But subscribe to the channel, go back and check out all the content that we've got here, and I do want to give a shout out to our pack. We love our pack, the Park Adventurers Club. Thank you guys for being members of the pack, and a big shout out to our Zebra Mezzanine and Treasure Room supporters. We appreciate you. Please don't forget to follow us on Park ADV Club. That's Park ADV Club. Any social media platform out there, we're there. From Blue Sky to Facebook to TikTok, we're on all of them. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for watching. But Charlie, now is the time. Now is the best time because I get to ask you, as someone who has seen this through rose-colored glasses, and now in 2025 watched it in critique mode for a children's franchise. If somebody said to you, "It's spooky season, Charlie," I'm looking at Disney Plus and I see there was this Halloweentown thing on here. Charlie, would you recommend these movies?
Yes, I would. I
Oh,
know I'm viewing it with rose-colored glasses, and we've spent now the last hour or so talking about all of its problems. But I think overall, watch the first one. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of heart. It's got some really fun usage of like classic effects. It is framed really really close. But other than that, I think it's definitely worth a watch. If you're a huge fan of the first one, if you just fall in love with the world, then you can move on the series until you get tired of it. But I think the first one I can absolutely recommend. It's worth a watch.
yeah, and like I said, if I was talking to or if my wife was on here, she still to this day loves these movies and sat and rewatched them with me as I watched through them. And I will agree with you because I feel like even though this isn't celebrated in the parks and even though we're not looking at like new content in 2025 or coming down the pike for Halloweentown, which maybe it's in production somewhere, maybe it's on somebody's desk and they're going to do something with it. It still seems to have touched a lot of people as far as nostalgia, as far as a Halloween vibe, and a lot of Halloween stuff. Like, I still go back and watch the Peanuts Halloween special, The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, because there's something about it that is, as you said, charming. So I feel like, yeah, I agree. The first one is probably worth the watch. When you get to the second one, it's all over the place. The third one, I don't even know what they were doing. And the fourth one, hashtag not my Marnie. So I will say, the first one, yeah, I agree with you, is one that it's an easy watch, and the effects are what they are for 1998. I mean, that movie, 1998. Are you kidding me? Like that's coming up. I mean, that's going to be a 30-year-old movie in what
Yeah.
3 years. So
Yeah, very
um,
close.
Yep. So let us know what you think in the comments. Was this your movie? Are you really more one of those like I watch Hocus Pocus, not Halloweentown kind of a people? We all know the superior Halloween movie. I watch this movie, Charlie, every Halloween as my watch time for this for not Halloweentown, but the
Hmm.
Halloweentown, which is the Nightmare Before Christmas. I watch it on the 31st, and it's my like wrap up to Halloween, intro to the Christmas upcoming season. It
Yeah.
just makes me feel good all the time to watch that one, and a great classic movie. But Halloweentown is that for a lot of people, I'm sure. So let us know in the comments what you think. And thank you for doing this, my friend. I appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, and we'll have to get together and do something else fun real soon too, because it's a
Tron.
lot of fun. If you want to do Tron, we'll do Tron. Are you saying that that's
Oh,
what we're gonna do?
I'll 100%. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I
Oh,
will go into Tron and I will not hear any criticisms
okay, all right. Well,
at
I mean,
all.
Tron Ares comes out on October 10th, so we could do that as like a after that one. So,
Absolutely. I'll do both of them.
awesome. All right, my friend. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Talk to you guys next time on a look on the plus side. Have a great week.